Southwest Detroit, a Census 2020 crew signs up a shopper who hasn't done the census yet.
We're basically going to where Detroiters are, and that's either at home or at food distribution sites, at grocery stores. So that's our tactic, is just try to go where people are and be as safe as possible and take all the precautions that are necessary to keep people safe.
In Southwest, the census response rate is low. Even with the offer of a $5 grocery store coupon, it can be a tough sell, attributed to some who fear the census could trigger problems based on their immigration status. Mayor Mike Duggan made the census a priority in April last year, kicking off a $3 million campaign to raise the response rate.
In 2010, the lowest response rate of any major city in America was in Detroit.
A response rate of 64%. The lower the rate, the more federal dollars left on the table.
We said this time we're not making any excuses. We're going to start early because of what's at stake.
Online, out and about, the ads for the census seem hard to miss. Victoria Kovari has been in charge of Detroit's efforts since the beginning of last year.
It's up to you, it's up to me, it's up to all of us to make sure we get this right.
A big push last fall, then the pandemic hit.
What's going on over there? You busy these days?
Yeah, well, we're busier than ever because the Census Bureau decided to cut short the census operations 30 days. So now it's supposed to end September 30th, and which means we have about 6-7 weeks to go.
Because of COVID-19, President Trump extended the census-taking deadline, but last week he shortened it.
Let's talk geographically. What areas are getting the best responses? Where are the struggles?
Well, in terms of council districts, Districts 1 and Districts 2, which are mostly the northwest side of Detroit, they are having the best response any of the districts. District 1 is the only district, and that would be the northwest part of Detroit, that has exceeded their rate in 2010, which is pretty remarkable. But the lowest areas and the areas that we're finding the biggest challenge in are Districts 5 and 6. So District 5, the central part of the city, we're looking at 30 to 40% response rates. There's two big reasons for that. One is the large number of vacancies in those areas, so has had an impact on the response rates, and the midtown downtown area near Wayne State, all the way from like the river to past Warren. A lot of apartments and people in those buildings have decided to wait the coronavirus out somewhere else. So you can just go downtown and midtown, you'll see how empty it is compared to pre-COVID times.
You know, this was a growth area, midtown, downtown, from 10 years ago. Where look, there'd probably be some population gain there.
Absolutely.
But does it look like we're going to have population loss with this whole thing now?
Not necessarily. I mean, this is a lot of these vacancies are temporary, but we don't think it'll translate into a permanent loss of residents. And the way the Census Bureau counts population is based on where you were living April 1st. And so for those, especially around Wayne State University, those college students, they're supposed to fill out the census where they would have lived near campus, either on campus or off campus. So the Census Bureau is really trying to correct for this crazy time when they would have been on campus to be counted on April 1, but they weren't. It's a very complicated statistical kind of a calculation that the Census Bureau is going to have to make to correct for those folks that may be temporarily out of their place.
So it's really up to the Census Bureau in Washington.
It's up to the Census Bureau, the career Census Bureau workers, many of whom have worked multiple censuses, and they have much more sophisticated ways of measuring population than they did 10 years ago, for instance. But that's why it's so important that the Census Bureau have enough time to sort of make these kind of corrections. So there's a movement in Washington right now on the part of the House and the Senate to extend that statutory deadline beyond December 31st to April 1st, 2021.
Well, this extension, if it happens, has to be signed by the president. correct?
Correct. That's why it's not likely to happen, even though the Trump administration actually were the first ones that requested an extension to April 1st. They did that in April. April of this 2020.
According to the Census 2020 website, Detroit again trails major cities in response rates, except for Cleveland. Clock's ticking. Kovari says the targeting of a 70% response rate means Detroit's population loss will be minimal or no loss at all.
Well, the goal is 70%, and what, the word now around 50%? Is that right?
Yeah, we're just below 50%, but again, if you correct for vacant numbers of units, we think we're in the upper 60s once you make that correction. We're just urging everyone who has not filled out the census. There's no time like now. We only have a few weeks left where that website, my2020census.gov, will be open. So we're really hoping that we get as much participation from all sectors of Detroit as possible.
Victoria Kovari runs the census in Detroit. Thanks for talking to One Detroit.
Thank you.